Hi, I'm Zoe Howorth and I am a portfolio non-exec director, and I sit on three really entrepreneurial businesses boards, all of them grounded in a social purpose with really inspirational founders and really strong commercial businesses. Prior to that, I began my career in marketing. I started as a graduate trainee at Procter and Gamble. I had a short stint at United Biscuits, and then I really grew up in terms of my exec career at Coca-Cola Company. I joined as brand manager, left as marketing director. So that's me in a nutshell.
Zoe, thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Fantastic. It's a pleasure to be here, Kareem.
So you left recently a long career at Coca-Cola to begin this new phase of your career as a non-exec board member. Why was this a good time to make this move for yourself?
Okay, so I actually left Coke about 5 years ago. I did that. I'd had a brilliant time at Coke. It's a wonderful organisation. I've been there for close to 17 years. And I had been marketing director for 4 years then. And importantly, over the period that we had the London 2012 Olympics in our home market, which for Coke and for a person, leading the UK organisation, that was a really fantastic experience, and something that I'll remember forever. And I think after that, beyond that, I felt that I'd done the job I wanted to do, and I didn't want to go internationally with Coke because I wanted to be here a bit more for my family. So Coke were brilliant. I took a sabbatical, and across the course of that sabbatical, I kind of discovered this world of entrepreneurs and met a few entrepreneurial founders, and actually decided I wanted to learn what it took to run a business. Because I think at Coke, absolute marketing excellence and built that skill set. But you are always a little bit of a small cog in a hugely successful organisation. Whereas when you flip to smaller organisations, you really get to touch and feel all aspects. So I felt that I wanted to flex that entrepreneur in me and work with smaller digital first, perhaps more dynamic businesses. So that's kind of what I did.
Wow. So speaking about the 2012 Olympics in London, you mentioned that you led that for Coca-Cola in your home market, which must have been like an amazing experience for you. Not just the Olympics, but in your backyard, so to speak. I'm really curious about this, Zoe, as we seemingly emerge from the current pandemic that we're in. What challenges do you think brands are going to have to consider for the upcoming games?
Okay, it's a great question. I mean, first of all, there's something very special about the Olympic Games and the Olympic spirit, and particularly at this time in the world when we're emerging slowly from a global pandemic. So it is all about bringing out the best in human nature. It's such a spectacle that unites people across the world, and leaves a lasting legacy in terms of wanting to be part of a global community and also inspiring a healthy, active lifestyle, which I think is incredibly important as we step out of a global health pandemic. And we know the situation with obesity, etc., in our country. And we do, need to inspire people to become more active and enjoy that and play sport and be part of teams and have that connection. So I can't wait for the Olympics. I think it's going to be amazing. It's going to give us hope. It's going to give us inspiration, and there couldn't be a better time for the Olympic spirit. So I think there's challenges, but I think there's massive opportunities for brands to capture the zeitgeist that we feel right now, and how well that the Olympic spirit will kind of coincide with that desire for hope and optimism and coming together and connecting with people on an international scale. I think the byword, as ever, is authentic. So, we're sophisticated as consumers. We live in a transparent world of social media at our fingertips. It's really important that if brands are going to be part of the Olympics, that they need to have an authentic connection. They need to bring something that, enhances the experience as opposed to badging and they need to see it through. So there's no point just being there for the shiny times. It's about, certainly Coke's strategy was to invest in grassroots, to enable people to, play sport, enjoy sport, be part of that, build a long-term community. So, it's about being authentic and taking a long-term view.
Is there anything special or different from a marketing perspective, you think? And I realize it's been a few years since you've sort of worn that hat, but is there something different, especially because we've been cooped up? Various parts of the world have been in some sort of a lockdown over the past year now. And people are still sort of hesitant to go into big crowds and what that means. Yeah. And so I'm wondering if brands, outside of getting involved in a big global event, if brands are going to have to rethink how they message and what they message during that time frame.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, there will be a lot of uncertainty, well-founded uncertainty about, going into big audiences again. But actually, a lot of us have enjoyed the event from our screens. And I think that it is the best in human spirit, the best in sporting endeavour. And I think that that will be true even if we enjoy it virtually. So I do think it is about how brands can enable access to enjoy the Olympic Games. And I think, importantly, the role that brands have in inspiring action, individual action from the Olympic Games, because, you are seeing the best in the world. And it is great for people to pick up a tennis racket or play sport or run races in the garden in order for them to adopt healthy lifestyles going forward. And, it's a moment of inspiration, a moment of hope. And I think if brands can capture that and bring it to a wide audience and inspire people to kind of do stuff themselves, I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to watch and see not just these athletes perform at their best, but to see how the broadcasters and how the brands react and speak to the wider audience. I want to talk. I want to take a little detour here, Zoe. You recently became involved with an initiative called Meat Free Monday. Tell me a little bit about this and why this initiative appealed to you now.
Okay, so I, like we all do, when the world is normal, we, go to lots of events. I'm part of a really fantastic women's group, campaigning group called WACL. And as part of this, they run inspiration, education events to help us think about the world and how we can contribute. And one of these was led by a lady called Julie Baddeley, and she is the founder and heads up an initiative called Chapter Zero, which is its purpose is to help equip boards of directors of companies to help support their businesses to think about more sustainable practices and how to build good sustainable businesses. So something close to my heart. I went along, heard her speak, and actually she left a lasting impression about, what am I going to do to help the climate emergency that we all face? And she kind of got us all together, and I set up a working group called Meat Free Mondays. And the thought behind this was really inspired. When I was at Coke, I worked on the Diet Coke Break campaign. And that was hugely successful. And it was successful because it found a moment in people's lives that was everyday and accessible that actually they could enjoy with a Diet Coke. So it grounded the product and the brand into an everyday occasion that we have. And it actually, Diet Coke brought a bit of uplift, brought a bit of fun. It's a great taste. So it was a similar thought with Meat Free Mondays, is how do we help people to live more sustainable lives? So Kantar helped us with this project. And there's a big insight around, I think it's about 96% of people that they polled wanted to live a sustainable life, more sustainable life, and make changes to support the climate emergency push. But actually only 16% were. And that was because, and I feel it myself, Kareem, is like, where do I start? This thing is so huge. How can I make an impact? What do I do? What's most valuable? You know, what's a simple, affordable change to make? And where do I start? And so Meat Free Mondays feels like a really simple, accessible change that everyone could do. It's, it's better value for money. It's also really great for animal welfare. It's easy to do, it tastes great, and it has a big impact on the planet. So it feels like lots of really appealing assets to doing this. And then the change is, in terms of the climate emissions, is much bigger than you think. So I think there's a stat that if the UK's population went meat free for a day a week for the rest of the year, we'd save equivalent of an area of the world's forest that's equal to all the national parks in England and Wales. So this kind of meat is a big inhibitor on emissions, and is something, and we're not saying don't eat meat and you're bad and at all. It's just, hey, think about it on a Monday, just switch it up a bit and, try a veggie stir fry, or try, a delicious plant-based meal. So I think it's quite exciting. It's a tongue-in-cheek campaign we've developed. It really is just some inspiration to help people just think about how they can develop their behaviour to be more climate friendly.
And over 10 years, it's still going strong, this initiative.
It's going strong. So I can't take any credit. This was begun by the Paul McCartney and his daughters, Stella and Mary. They began the Meat Free Foundation 10 years ago. And actually it's led by two great women, Suzanne Barnard and Sarah Boardman. And they've led this initiative with great success over the last 10 years. And really, I've come together with them, with two of the women, Tara McLeod and Lucy Taylor, to create a campaign, a creative campaign to build out awareness and try and get more partners on board, because part of this is just telling people about it in a very friendly, open, accessible way, and slightly disruptive way. And then the other important thing is giving people the chance to try it. So we've got Papa John's who are doing half-price vegetarian pizzas, so that actually when you think about, enjoy a lovely Papa John's tonight, actually you might be tempted to try the vegetarian option, helping the planet, taste delicious, and helping your pocket as well. Similarly, the Knorr team at Unilever have come on board and are sharing content and, giving people really interesting ways to participate in a Meat Free Monday.
I want to know, Zoe, what's next for you, for the brands that you're working with in 2021 and beyond?
Okay, so I think as we emerge from this global pandemic, we've all had a lot of time to reflect and think about our businesses. And, I personally have a passion. I know it's held in the three businesses that I sit on the board of, around doing good business. And I think by that, it's this, this kind of triple bottom line that people talk about of, profit, planet and people, and how those three things can work together to drive successful business. And I've certainly witnessed, one of my businesses is Water Babies. It's the world's leading baby swimming school, and another was Playfinder, which is an app that enables you to book sports pitches online. So both of them are, strong social purpose at their heart, millennial brands, disruptive brands, creating better lifestyles for people. And yet they're, unashamedly commercial businesses, successful businesses. And actually, I think that's fantastic. And they're very authentic too. And I think that's what consumers want, is they want brands that have good utility, that work. They want brands that have a real purpose, that are more than just a commercial entity. But they also want brands that, give them a lifestyle hit, that have got kudos, that do the right things, that look and feel good. And I think all of those businesses, have those. I think that's a magic formula. And hopefully, consumers are voting with their feet. And also you see more and more investors wanting to, invest in businesses that have strong ESG credentials, good ethics, treat their people right, and are starting to ask the right questions. So I'm hopeful that, out of, a lot of the misery that a lot of us have experienced this year, that there's going to come hope, there's going to be good practices. We're going to embrace green economy, and hope to be, involved in that.
There seems to be a lot of new challenger brands around the world, getting a lot of attention, getting a lot of funding, becoming successful. And I'm curious, and I don't know if you have a thought on this, whether the more established brands find it harder to pivot and to focus on, profit, planet, and people, rather than historically profit. There are a lot of disruptors. I think competition is great for the market and the category, and I think big brands would agree with that, because they excite people. They get people to come into the category and participate. I think there's brilliant examples of businesses doing big businesses doing fantastic things and being a force for good. And actually, just an example I read about was Biffa, waste management business, big FTSE business, huge business, been going, very established, has just recently bought the company shop, which is an awesome business that uses, basically collates product that would otherwise go into landfill because it's maybe been packaged wrongly, trial runs, etc., and then resells it at, good prices in areas of deprivation or to key workers. So it's a fantastic circular economy. But you see Biffa investing in businesses like that and giving that a platform, giving that investment. So they're really using their, infrastructure and their power as a force for good to help enable businesses like that to grow. So I think, big or small, it's not just the small guys that are the good guys. I think we're seeing it across the piece. Excellent. Zoe, thank you so much for this conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, Kareem.
Power your advertising. Working with Active International enables you to fund your advertising using your company's own products, assets, or even services. We have over 30 years' experience connecting and bringing value to businesses all over the globe, helping many brands scale up into household names. Want to achieve more from your marketing spend? Contact Active International today.